Congressman Steny Hoyer. He is a Democrat from Maryland, and maybe you can fill us in, sir, on what Politico is pointing out today when Republicans and Democrats are in jeopardy of losing their seats because of this sequester. It looks like the constituents really aren't buying into the blame game here, of the finger pointing back and forth. Both sides are taking a hit. So what happened to getting a deal?
Look, I think the American people want us to adopt a common sense path forward and get us to fiscal sustainability. They understand that we haven't been managing the finances of the country the way we ought to be. We're in debt, but they also know that we need to invest in growing the economy. They're focused on jobs. We think the Democratic alternatives, both that Senator Murray's offering in the Senate, that Chris Van Hollen's offering in the House, do exactly that, while the Republican budget offered by Mr. Ryan in the Senate, in the House, will have a devastating effect not on average working Americans, but on job creation in this country. We don't think it's a real budget. We think that the consequences of the policies that are included in that budget would be very devastating to the country and to middle-class families and the working people.
Sir, does this mean though that we're headed for a government shutdown like we lived through in '95 and '96?
No, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about a budget and we're talking about a CR. The continuing resolution, which is the funding past March 27th for government enterprises, I think we'll pass that. I hope we'll pass it this week. The Senate, I think, is going to pass it hopefully late tonight. We'll send it over to us, and I expect us to pass it on Thursday. The Senate passed version is better than the House version. It's not a good version. We should substitute, as both the Murray budget does and the Van Hollen budget does, substitute for the sequester, not adopt the sequester numbers. Sequester, as I say, starts with S, which stands for stupid. It's an irrational way to reduce government spending. We need to reduce spending. We need to raise some additional revenues. We need to balance our budget. But the sequester is a dumb way to do it. It's unfortunate that we went forward with it.
So you think the CR will go through, be voted on by Thursday? Meanwhile, tomorrow, though, the House is going to be bringing up Ryan's budget.
Yes. Again, the CR is a continuing resolution to fund government. The budget is the plan for 2014 going forward. I think the CR probably will pass this week, and very frankly, if it doesn't pass this week, we ought not to recess for the Easter break. We ought to be here next week until we pass the CR and make sure that government doesn't shut down. The sequester is dumb. Shutting down government's even dumber. So that I'm hopeful that we will move on that direction. But I'm also hopeful that we will come to our senses and adopt a rational, responsible budget for the coming year. The Ryan budget is all a pipe dream and not a plan that's a responsible way forward. And I think we're going to make that point on the floor. I think the Van Hollen budget will be perceived by many, certainly in our party, as a rational way forward, and then we'll go to conference. If the Ryan budget passes, hopefully we'll be able to sit down with the Ryan budget, with the Murray budget, hopefully both pass in the Senate and the House, and come to a common sense agreement. That's what the American people want us to do.
Congressman Steny Hoyer. Sir, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. That's going to